All right, so we just went over the agenda and we're going to go ahead and keep on moving. So again, as I mentioned before, I am Sean Lewis. I'm one of the advisors on our team. Brian Collins, Casey Rayola, and Michaela Maswera, who's with me today, are other members of the advising team. And as we start in next week, you will either be assigned myself or Brian as your advisor. Michaela's going to be gone from us for a little while, and maybe Casey will be back shortly. So it'll be Brian and I that advise the September learners. So we want to welcome you again to the Onward to Opportunity program. You were given access, or you should have had access to the core earlier this week. The core is think of the core as an online community where you all can exchange ideas, share resources, talk to each other, things like that. Percipio access was you may already have Percipio access already, but if you don't have it by now, you'll have it by the time the cohort starts on Monday. By the end of the day tomorrow, you will be given your advisor assignments. So all of you will either have myself or Brian as your advisor. And we also want to make you aware that the week after next, which the week of September 20th through the 22nd, we will be at a training conference. And so reaching out to us, will be a little bit of a challenge. But nevertheless, if you have questions for us, we'll have you, we'll provide you an email address where you can reach out to us for, critical things, emergencies, like you don't have access to your coursework or things like that as an example of an emergency. But as soon as we get back, we'll be right back to you and we will get your questions answered. So just a little bit about the Onward Opportunity Program. It's grant funded, which means no GI Bill, no voc rehab, no government money. Our program is funded by the generous donations of various companies. And hey, I think somebody doesn't have their mic muted. Would you all mind muting your mics so that everybody can hear me? Thanks, I appreciate it. So our program is all grant funded, no government money, no GI Bill, no voc rehab money. It's all given to us by generous donations of companies and private individuals. So that's how we pay for this program, and that's how this program is brought to you at no cost. Every person is given one license per participant. And what we mean by don't click on the link, we mean that if for some reason, after today, you realize that there's no way that you can participate in this program, we ask you not to click on any of the links that would help you to access the coursework. Communicate with your advisor, and we will administratively take care of you and move you to another cohort or find some other work with you to get you into the program at a different time. So if you can't make it for some reason, please don't click on any of the activation links, as this will, expend your license. And as I mentioned, every participant only gets one license to do this program one time only. As a member of this cohort, you get to participate in or have the potential to earn one industry certification. So whatever learning path you're in, we will offer you the ability to get one industry certification. So whether that be PHR, PMP, we'll pay for one certification. There's my coworker, Brian Collins, who just joined us there. Hey, Brian, we just got ahead and got started. So we're just continuing on. Our program is self-paced, except for the PMP bootcamp. So that means everybody has access to the program. It's a self-paced. Your coursework is all going to be self-paced on our Percipio platform. However, those of you who are participating in the PMP learning path, that requirement is a live bootcamp. And we'll talk more about the PMP learners here at the very end. As I mentioned, all of you will have an assigned advisor, either myself or Brian. And all of your coursework, your test preps, additional resources, all those things will be contained, whether you are in the bootcamp or taking the self-paced coursework, all of that will be contained in your journey on Percipio. And remember, as I mentioned, you can only participate in our program once. So if you find after today that this isn't the program for you, or there's some reason that you feel like you can't participate right now, please don't click on any of the activation links. Work with your advisor or reach out to the joint inbox, the joint advising inbox, and we'll take care of that administratively. So I'm going to do a demonstration of the core and Percipio here in a second, but just again, to give you just an overall big picture, the core is basically a community where you can all interact with each other. So a lot of times people feel like they got to create, separate groups on different platforms. Bottom line is, if you need to exchange a resource or just talk about maybe a problem that you're having with the coursework or what have you, that's what the core is used for. We can make announcements as advisors. We can communicate with you through the core, but ultimately, that's where you can communicate with each other. As a member, I just told you about the IVMF advising inbox. So if you can't reach Brian or myself, you can always reach out to us in the advising inbox, and that's at ivmfadvising@syr.edu. Please make that a safe email address to receive information from us so that it doesn't go to your spam or to your trash folder. And in a moment here, we're going to talk about private versus public groups inside the core. So Michaela, if you'll stop sharing, I'll go ahead and bring up my screens here so we can walk through the core. Remember, folks, if you have a question, go ahead and jot it down in the chat, and we'll get to it towards the end. And maybe Brian, if you can maybe answer some questions in the chat, we'll get a head start on that.
I'm sorry, give me just a second.
Yep.
It looks different than it normally does for me.
Yep, no problem.
If I click pause, can you see still, or is it gonna let you share?
Yeah, you can pause the recording.
No, I paused the screen share. It's not like showing. Oh geez. Yeah, it's not letting.
There you go. Okay. I can share my screen. Yeah, I got it. I can share my screen.
Okay, sorry guys.
No, that's okay. Okay, Michaela, if you could give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, great. So getting access to the core, this is what it'll look like, and we'll give you information to get to this particular website. So all you got to do is enter your email address, and then nobody has a password yet. So what you'll do is click the forgot password link and then follow the prompts. It'll take you back to the screen, enter your email and password, and then it'll then take you to a page that looks like this. Can you see the welcome page, Michaela?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, I didn't for some reason it's not showing the same way. Anyway, okay, so this is when you log into the core, this is what it looked like. The core is the community for online resources and engagement. So at your leisure, go ahead and click on any one of these tiles here so that you can kind of play around with this and see what's available. But I want to go ahead and focus in on a couple of areas so that you're aware of the things that we are offering here. So I'm going to click on groups. Everybody will be in the September 2023 online cohort. That'll be the only group that's going to be displayed for you. As an advisor, I have other groups that I have access to, but you all will have access to this private group, and all of you will be in this private group, the September 2023 online cohort. So if I click on that link, you'll notice that there's some group details here. There's some milestone dates. So you'll always know when your start date is, when your 90-day cohort deadline is, and when the cohort end date is. So the cohort end date, when all of your material is due, is Friday, March 22nd, 2024. That seems like a long way away, but before you know it, it'll be here. And so we will talk more about getting your coursework done in a timely manner, et cetera, et cetera. As I mentioned before, we can make announcements in the core. We can set up a poll, and we can communicate with you through the core. Just going back to the beginning here. And going back to groups. Just want to show you real quick, if you were looking to get into a study group, for example, all you'd have to do is click this drop down arrow here and click on active groups. And then go over here into the search box, and let's just say you typed in PHR for the HR folks. Hit enter, and then you'll see that there's a human resource study group. So all you do is click on that link and click join, and then you'll be able to interact with all of the people who are in the human resources study group. All right. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay, so as I mentioned before, go ahead and click on these other tiles to explore. Now I want to go into how you access your coursework in Percipio. So we'd like for you to do it this way all the time. If you do it this way, you'll 99.9% of the time, you won't have any problems getting into your coursework. And I'll demonstrate that here right now. All you got to do when you get to the start page here is click on the word coursework up here on top. And then you can read this. And then all you have to do then is click on this icon here that says Percipio. And once you do that, you'll be taken to our LMS called Percipio. I'm going to use the CAPM coursework as an example here, but essentially you'll be taken to the start page of your journey. We call this a journey. You'll notice this bit will be called the big or the red banner area. Your coursework will be right here. To get into your coursework, all you got to do is click Get Started, and it'll take you to your coursework. I want you to ignore all these other tiles here that may show up here on the bottom. Creating shortcuts and things like that. I know that a lot of folks like to do that type of thing, but if you do it on Percipio, what happens is Percipio changes some things in the background to help make their site better or more secure. And when they change things in the background, these links tend to get disconnected or broken. So you might click on a link where you left off at, and it may take you nowhere, or it may tell you, that it doesn't work. So don't use that. Don't use these links underneath this the red banner area here. Again, all you got to do to get into your journey is to click Get Started, and you'll be taken there. Just want to show you also that if you decide that you wanted to add any coursework to your program, you just contact your advisor, Brian or myself, and then we'll be able to do that. And to get to that different coursework, you just click on these carousel arrows right here, and it'll take you to, the coursework that we added. Right, so you'll notice I have a bunch of different things here, but again, that's different, for me. But if we add coursework, that's how you will find your coursework. Your primary coursework will always be the first one that pops up in the red banner area, but then adding additional coursework will get you. We'll just use those carousel arrows as I mentioned, and it will get you there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click Get Started, and now we're into our journey. So just want to go over a couple of these tiles. This tile right here is where you're going to find one of our requirements. We call it the Onward to Your Career, or OTYC. There's 6 OTYC modules that you have to do, and they're located under this tile right here. At your leisure, you can go ahead and click on these tiles like the syllabus and course packet and things like that, so you can get a greater understanding. But I want to just take a look at the Percipio 101 tips and tricks for a second here. I'm going to click on that. And the reason why I bring this up is because I want to show you that there is a mobile app for Percipio. So if you, whether you have an Apple device or you have an Android device, go to your applicable store, and you can just type in Percipio, and it'll bring you to the Percipio app. Download that to your smartphone device. Please have these directions available when you download it, because sometimes people have trouble downloading the app. And if you just use these directions, it'll be very, very simple to download. All right. You can do everything on the mobile app that you can do on your desktop or a laptop, except for taking any of the test preps. All right. And I'll talk about the test preps here in a moment. All right. So getting back to your journey here. Now I'm going to go, okay, so the next spot in your journey that I want to cover is where your coursework is. So this is the CAPM coursework. To get to that coursework, all you got to do is click on the link right here, and it'll take you to the CAPM coursework. I'll click on one of the videos just so you can see what it looks like. You'll notice that it looks a lot like LinkedIn Learning. Press the play button here to get it to play. There's the closed caption button here. There's a button to speed it up or slow it down. You can make a full screen, make it the display a full screen version. I want to bring this section to your attention. While you're playing the video here, you can click on this tab that says Notes, and you can take notes while you are watching the video. What I would do is I would copy and paste these notes into a Word document, and then print it out and put it into a binder. Label it appropriately so that you have some good notes going for the videos that you are watching. Under this resource tab right here, there's a course transcript and a glossary. Again, I would copy and paste those into a Word document, so I have those for my notes. The course transcript, just like it says, there's a transcript for every section of this module. And what I would do is I would copy and paste this transcript into a Word document and make that the basis of my notes as I study for the test prep and for the certification exam. All right. Okay. So I'm going to move past the where your coursework is and go down to these optional resources. It's labeled optional resources, but really none of the following things are optional. Okay, they are definitely required for you to move forward and make progress. So I'm just going to talk to you about the test prep requirements and the test prep tile here. The test prep requirements tab is the directions on how to take the practice tests that we call test preps. So if you click on here, it's very simple. All you do is read, follow directions. It's labeled 1, 2, 3, and you'll be able to get to the start of your practice test. Down here at the bottom, when you're done with all the requirements that you have for us to pay for your certification exam, just follow the directions in this section here called Request Exam Payment Instructions. You're going to copy and paste that into an email, send it to us, send it to this email right here, ivmfadvising@syr.edu. Fill in the required information. We'll check to make sure you met all of our requirements, and then we will pay for your exam and notify you that it's taken care of. All right. Okay, so going over now to the test prep tile. This is where the actual practice tests live. So I'm going to click on that. All you got to do is click on this Q symbol right here and click on Quick Quiz. And that will start the test prep. Okay, so you see the 150 questions. You just go through the questions, answer them after you've watched the videos and you studied, and you go ahead and answer the questions and it'll give you your score at the end. When we go back to the dashboard here, here's where it will list all of your scores that you've taken for the test prep. Now, for most of your test preps, the test prep scores that we need you to take 3 test preps and get an 80% or above. And in this column here, we'll list all of those scores. If you don't want us to see all the scores, you can go into this column over here, click the drop down arrow, and you can delete that particular score. So we don't care if you show us a score that says 50, 30, or 70. Don't be embarrassed. There's no shaming here. Most people don't do well the first time they take a test prep. It is what it is. Okay. So all we need is 3 test scores. They don't have to be consecutive, but 3 test scores with an 80% or above. All right, let me go back to, okay, so that was the test prep. That's the test prep requirements. Here's the application guide for those of you who are taking the CAPM, what you need to do to apply to PMI. Down the bottom here is our employment services tab. So this is useful so that everybody who's looking for a job, we have employers that are specifically looking to hire onward to opportunity graduates. So it's great that you complete the training, but it's even better if you complete and get your certification. Our employer partners are looking to hire you. Okay, so I would take a look at the employers that are listed there. This is password protected, and we'll be able to provide that password to you as we go. You'll find additional resources here in this particular section, and I invite you to take a look at these references here, find the one that works for you, and utilize that as you're studying for the test prep and your certification exam. The last section I want to talk about here is alumni services. You're considered an alumni when you complete the coursework. All right, when you complete the coursework, you're considered a graduate of our program. And Alumni Services provides a variety of services to you that will help you find employment, help you with your resume, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So that's the walkthrough of a quick walkthrough of Percipio. And as I mentioned before, if you go ahead and jot down your questions in the chat, Brian will be answering some of those questions as we go. And at the end, we'll take some more questions at the end for this section. All right. Go ahead and advance the slides, Michaela, and we'll pick up
I'm having such a time. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Trying to move. Did it move forward?
Yeah, it
for
did.
you?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Keep going.
Okay. Sorry.
Yep. One more. All right. All right. So I want to turn it over to Michaela so she can talk to you about successful learner traits.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Michaela Meswera. I'm unfortunately going to be out soon on maternity leave, but I'll be back in a couple of months to assist the team with whatever they need. But for now, I'm still here. So today I'm going to talk to you about successful learner traits. And the number one most successful learner trait is definitely time management. So as previously mentioned, when Sean was walking through Percipio and the core, really think over the next couple of days if you can dedicate the time to this program right now or not, because once you activate your license, you won't be able to come back. Like if you start it and you're like, oh, I don't think I can do this, you'd have to request for a second license, and it's a whole process. So create a plan and stick to it. This is your time in program. You signed up for whichever program you're enrolled in. So hopefully it's something that aligns with your soon to be career goals. We recommend using planners, calendars, reminders to stay on track. In most of your journeys, you'll see a outline, like an Excel document of a proposed schedule, but you don't have to follow that. Of course, all of these courses are asynchronous, aside from the PMP Bootcamp, which is live over the next week. We recommend dedicating about 6 to 10 hours of work per week and using the chunking method. So breaking down your larger goals into smaller tasks. You can also find online like different, if you don't like the proposed schedule that you see within Percipio, you're more than welcome to use a schedule builder from the internet. They have lots of free templates that you can use. Like I would just Google free academic calendar template, and that should be helpful. We do recommend completing your coursework as quickly as possible so you can focus your time on the test preps. As Sean said, that tends to be the hardest part for most people, not the actual coursework or the OTYC modules. Those only take a couple of hours if you really dedicate the time to them, but we do see a lot of people running into difficulties with the test preps just because of the sheer volume of questions that there are. And we do have a weekly learner management system outage each week from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays. That's when Skillsoft, that would be Eastern time, by the way. That's when Skillsoft makes any adjustments or fixes anything that may be glitching throughout the week. This is a sample customizable schedule, but like I said, definitely look online for free academic templates if you don't like the way that this looks, because obviously everybody has lots going on in their own lives and lots of you are transitioning out of the service, and we understand that there's a lot that comes with that between medical appointments and PCSing and just people's regular family lives. Some more successful learner traits are communication. We can't help you if we don't know that there's a problem. We recommend contacting your advisor first if you have an issue. Like Sean said also, though, Casey and I will be out, so they are going to have a lot more learners than they normally would for a brief period of time. So if it's taking a little while, we would say to expect like 2 to 3 business days, and please be patient with us. We're here to help you. We want to see you succeed, but they're human and they're doing the best that they can. The advising support email would be the same one that Sean showed from earlier. So it's the ivmfadvising@syr.edu. Please save this in your calendar or somewhere. Write it in bold letters. That's where you're going to send your payment request to at the end of your cohort. You're not going to send it to your advisor. If you're having difficulties with technical issues on Skillsoft, just so you guys know, we don't have the capability to fix a Skillsoft issue. Our capability with Skillsoft extends to being able to change your coursework. But if you're having a hard time with things outside of like a password reset or wanting your course changed, this is the email that you would address. It's support@skillsoft.com. And whenever you do send in those requests, we do recommend taking a screenshot so that they have like the exact picture of whatever it is that's going wrong. And, oh, I did say the thing about patience with a response. Okay. And also review all the material in your journey before reaching out, please, because I can almost 100% guarantee that whatever question it is that you have is somewhere within those tiles in Percipio. I know a lot of people get really excited and they read one or two of the tiles, then they start sending us 20 questions about things because they want to figure it out. But we have it all laid out for you as succinctly as possible. Also, use your mindset of learning. So learn what governing body is teaching whichever course it is that you signed up for. So if you're a project management student, it would be PMI. If you're doing a human resources course, it would be HRCI. If you're doing CompTIA, that would be also CompTIA. And they actually have a really cool tool on their website that shows you how to follow the certification that you're in into whatever career path that might lead to. And make sure that you understand the methodology versus memorizing the content. And review the governing body's website for exam information. That's a super duper important piece of information because we have people, especially with PMI, asking us all the time, you know, would I be able to translate this into work experience for my exam? And as like, even if we might know the answer, we're not the ones that are going to be certifying your exam at the end of this process. So it's best to just reach out to them directly instead of asking us, because we're just going to refer you to these sites anyways. There are additional resources available to you within your journey. Right past where Sean showed you the optional exam payment section, there are some different books available to you. And we do recommend using materials beyond the coursework and the test preps to prepare for the industry certification exam. So if you have Spotify or Apple Music, there's probably a good chance that there's a podcast related to whatever program you're in. There are recorded boot camps. So for the PMP learners, you guys will get a GitHub link, and that's going to have all of the recordings of the sessions. And definitely consider your learning style and how you prefer to learn new information. So if you're not a big auditory learner, I would recommend definitely taking copious notes while you're listening to the videos or watching them. And then I was also going to say that you can go onto some websites like thriftbooks.com, or you can go on Amazon and get the books used that we offer online. Or you can go on chegg.com, which is a great academic resource. I'm trying to flip it forward, and the arrow looks like it just went away. Okay. And then for your certifying body that we were talking about earlier, definitely connect with key figures within your career field on LinkedIn. All of you had to have a LinkedIn page set up in order to enroll into our program. So I know you have LinkedIn, and these people will often post about different conferences that are happening, or they'll post specific videos or learner traits for what people in their career field are looking for upon hiring people. So just kind of think outside of the box as far as utilizing our program goes. There's so much free information available to us out there on the internet. And again, we really, really want to see you succeed. And I look forward to working with you guys when I get back. Now I'm going to turn it back over. I believe is it Sean, is this you or Brian?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
I can take it, Sean.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, Brian, go ahead.
just kidding.
Yeah, I'll take it for you. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. So I'll go ahead and get started. These are kind of a list of some of the most frequent asked questions that we do receive, while you're in the program. So go ahead and cover these for you right now. And hopefully we'll answer a few of those questions that may be coming up. So right now, you're actually enrolled in a specific course. But right now, if you go in there and that course isn't the best fit for you, or next week you get started on it and you just determine it's not probably the best fit for you, you do absolutely can switch to a different course. All you have to do is just email your advisor, and we'll go ahead and make those updates for you. It happens quite a bit, so it's really not pretty easy thing for on our end to do that. The trickier thing is can you defer to a later cohort? So you do have that option. However, you can only do that if you have not yet activated your Precipio license. So if you go in and you start the coursework and you start working your way through it, you won't have that option to defer to a later cohort. So if you're looking at it right now and you have some different competing requirements, like if you're in school or you have something else going on that might interfere with you completing the program right now, then I would reach out to us and see if we can move you to a different cohort later on, where the timing would be much better for you. I know someone mentioned in the chat, you do have the option to take more than one course. That is after you complete your primary course. So once you have completed your primary course, you do have the option to take additional courses. You will continue to have access to Precipio, for that 1 year after the completion of your course. So you can take pretty much as many courses as you would like. Those courses are free to you. But just understand that we will only be able to cover the cost of one certification exam as part of the program. Okay. I know Sean had mentioned this earlier. There is a mobile app. So you can download the mobile app. The default password is orange44 with an exclamation point, and the site name would be IVMF. But if you do run into any problems downloading that or you can't log in, just reach out to us at IVMF Advising, and we'll go ahead and set that up or send you that information so you can get started. If you need additional support, that's what the advising team here is here for. So reach out to your advisor, and one of us will be able to support you with anything that you need. We've seen all kinds of different requests for support, and we're here to make sure that you have everything you need while you're in this program to make sure that this is a productive program for you, and that you can use this to hopefully catapult yourself to that certification and a job moving forward. All right, so upcoming milestones. We'll hit this one more time. I know it was talked about a little bit during the core walkthrough, but the official cohort start date is Monday, September 18th. Okay. Granted, you've all gotten your core password. A lot of you, especially the PMP learners, should have already been able to go on there and register. So you can see your coursework now. Just keep in mind though that the official start date is Monday. And you will have from basically Monday, September 18th to Wednesday, December 20th to complete the Onward to Your Career modules and your coursework. This coursework due date though only applies to the learners that are not in PMP. All right. The boot camp for anyone that is a PMP boot camp learner, those sessions are your required coursework. So after you complete the boot camp next week, you will have met the coursework completion requirements for our program. Then everyone, regardless of what course you are taking, has till Friday, March 22nd, 2024 to complete the test prep requirements and request payment for your certification exam. There is no requirement for anyone to take their certification exam by March 22nd. We only need to provide or make the payment for you. Depending on what certification you are pursuing will depend on your timeline to take the exam. And your advisor can share more information with you when you get closer to that time. Okay, so post-program support. You have many options as part of our program, not just the coursework being made available to you and the benefit of us, covering the cost of certification exam. We also offer employment support. So that's done in a couple different ways. We can refer you to HHUSA, which is Hire Heroes USA, and they can help with job search, resume assistance. And we also have a employer partner that has a resources within your actual journey. If you click on that in your journey, you're going to see different organizations that we've partnered with that offer anything from an internship to potential job openings. You can see on their site what job openings are there, and you can use all that to leverage the employment support piece and connect with potential employers. Once you've completed your coursework, you are considered a graduate of the O2O program, and therefore you qualify for support from our IVMF Alumni Services team. They host different types of VetNets, which are free online-based webinar programs with different partners that you have the ability to access. They also can provide you with some mentorship and additional time within the Percipio learning management system, should you just want to pursue, additional courses. They won't pay for any of your exams, but they will be able to provide you with that additional time moving forward. And then everyone will receive a post-program survey. The survey will be sent to all learners upon completion of your cohort, where we're just asking for an after status program update. Did you get hired? Did you get promoted in a certain role? That helps us, gather this information and make sure that we can share this with our leadership, that what's coming out of this program is good and it's beneficial to the learners that are participating. Next one. All right, these are all of the programs that are offered within the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. Everyone on this webinar is participating in the Career Preparation Employment, the Onward to Opportunity. We also have America Serves, which is a network of 19 different states, where you can, if you are having some issues outside of just coursework, homelessness, or you're looking for providers or anything like that, that organization can definitely help with that. We also have the entrepreneurship and small business portfolio with all the multiple programs in there, depending on what stage you are at in your business. There is a program that you can use if you're interested in starting a business or you are a business owner. That is another program, and that you still qualify for participation in that program, even by going through our program. And then finally, we have our research, evaluation, and data analytics team that basically collects all the data, like I mentioned from your survey, for example, and provides that information so that we can continue to bring everything that we need to make this program successful for everyone. Just for everyone's, some of our funders, leading, JP Morgan and Chase is our founding partner. And then you can see the other ones on this list, everywhere from Google to Boeing, the USO. This is how we make this program possible. All right, next. Okay, so for the next couple minutes, we'll just take any questions that might be in the chat, and then we'll turn it over to go through the PMP portion. All right, let's see. Looking through, just have to answer this. All right, moving up here to one of the first ones. Gary, we'll be sending a recording of this. The slide deck won't be part of it, but we'll send the link to the recording for you. And Brian Duncan, you asked, can you use OneNote for your notes? Absolutely, that's up to you, whichever method works best for you. I used Word when I went through the program, but yeah, OneNote, Word, whatever you're comfortable with, really. You don't have to use anything that's in Percipio. It's there as an additional resource. There is no book requirement for the PMP bootcamp. So, don't worry about that. They're going to have different resources on there, the slides and everything like that you'll be able to access. So no need to worry about getting a book or anything along those lines for it. The PMBOK 7th edition is located in your journey. So if you do want to take a look at the PMBOK, it is in there for you. You won't be able to download it, but you'll be able to view it. The certifications, Ebony, looks like Sean already answered that. Yep, you'll receive all that by mail. All right. Yeah, it looks like. Yep. Yep. Ebony, we will be sending out those advisor assignments to you tomorrow. You can expect that probably tomorrow afternoon. And in that will also be, the contact information for us, for Sean or I, and then a recording of this webinar or a link to that recording as well. Cool. All right. So at this time, if there's no other, Gary, technically you do have access to everything now, but like we mentioned earlier, you don't want to access anything yet, and unless you plan on being able to complete the program. And the sign in for the app again is your email address. The password's orange44 exclamation point. And if it asks for a site name, the site name would be IVMF. So what we're going to do now is transition over to the PMP specific portion for anyone that is a PMP bootcamp learner. We'll run through that. And then for anyone else that is not participating in the PMP bootcamp, you are free to drop off of this. We thank you for the time, and we look forward to working with you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And Sean, I think you're going to do this one. Is that the plan? Okay. I'll turn it back over to Sean.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ryan.
Sean, you want me to stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And let me just cue this up. All right. Can you, Michaela, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, folks. So everybody here should be just for the PMP journey. Anybody else sticking around? If you're CAPM or ACP, there is no boot camp requirement for you. You have to, your coursework is all self-paced. Only folks that are in the PMP boot camp are have the boot camp requirement. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about the boot camp and what to expect coming forward on Monday. So you're going to be in a boot camp with learners from all over the country and maybe in other places around the globe. So it could be anywhere from several hundred to about 1,000 people in this boot camp. The chat is going to be very chatty. And what I would recommend that you all do is not get involved in the chat. All right. The boot camp is there for you to prepare you for the PMP certification exam, not to brag and boast about yourself or how good of a project manager you are, even without the certification, right? There's going to be other learners in there, like I mentioned, who don't have the discipline that, folks who have some military training have. But I just want to, kind of throw that out there from the beginning so you don't get wrapped up in that. If you want to have a discussion, again, you can use the core, but don't get wrapped up in the chat in the boot camp. Almost immediately, they're going to make a hard sell for the Learner Kit. Okay, the Learner Kit is a separate set of resources that we will provide to you once you've met our requirements for exam payment. So again, remember, there's going to be people from all over the world in this boot camp, and some of those people will not have the same resources that you have as an O2O learner. So they will have to buy the Learner Kit right away so they can have access to those resources. You won't need to do that because you'll have this journey that we just kind of walk through, and I'll talk about the boot camp journey here in a second. But you don't need to get the Learner Kit right away, and we won't buy the Learner Kit for you until you've met our requirements for exam payment. All right. If you choose to buy the Learner Kit right away, that's a cost that's going to be on you, and we will not reimburse you. So don't buy it yet. Okay, let us buy it for you. Time. They're going to tell you also right away that you can't miss any more than 15 minutes of the boot camp. Being a member of the O2O program, we have an agreement with PMP that you can miss up to 2 full sessions of the boot camp. Now, that doesn't mean that you should plan to miss 2 full sessions. We understand that people have, a variety of things going on in their life, including VA appointments, picking up kids, birthdays. I mean, you name it. Life happens, right? There's all kinds of things going on in your lives, right? In our lives. We just ask you that you please not abuse that. And understand that if you miss any more than 2 full sessions of the boot camp, they will not give you credit for attending the boot camp. So please don't miss any more than 2 sessions. Please plan to be there, from 10 to 6. And so that way there's no problems, okay? We also don't want you to log into the boot camp any earlier than 9:45 a.m. Eastern time, okay? So if you're on the West Coast, that's going to be 6:45, right? So if you log in any earlier than what I'm telling you, then you're probably going to get an error message and think that you're in the wrong spot, okay? So don't do it to yourself. Don't freak yourself out. Just log in anywhere between 9:45 and 9:50, or if you're on the West Coast, 6:45 to 6:50, and you'll be granted access, and then you just have to wait a few minutes for the boot camp to start. All right. While you're in the boot camp, don't log off for lunch. If you have to walk away for a bio break, then just close the camera down, or cover it up, mute your mic. They don't have a requirement for you to have your camera on, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. But believe me, if you log off of the boot camp once you start it, many of our learners have experienced problems getting back onto the boot camp. So when they give you a lunch break, just close the camera, mute the mic, whatever, maybe pull the screen down, so it just, like I said, they don't have a requirement for you to put your camera on, but if you feel more secure, put some tape up, whatever the case, whatever you feel like is going to be best for you, okay? But don't log off once the boot camp gets started. All right. So those are some of the introductory things I wanted to say about the boot camp. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and jot them down in the chat, and we will get to those at the end. All right. So just like on any of the other self-paced coursework, the boot camp has a journey as well. And to get to that journey, all you got to do is click Get Started, like I mentioned before. Click Get Started, and you're inside of your journey. I'm not going to cover anything that we already covered. I just want to mention that there's a boot camp checklist. If you follow that, you'll be most of the way on the right track. So, that's a good document to print out and mark off as you go. Your journey starts here. As Brian mentioned, we all already told you that when you're in the boot camp, your boot camp is your coursework. So there's no need to click on this link right here. Don't just ignore it, okay? So don't even do it to yourself. The boot camp starts on Monday at 10 a.m. and goes to 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, all right? So use the link for the boot camp to log into the boot camp, i.e. your coursework. Leave this alone. Here's an optional resource section that we went over before. And again, the test prep requirements are the directions for the test prep, and also what tells you how to make that exam payment. All right. I'm just going to go into the test prep just so you can see it. Notice, okay, you get this, you can click on this Q. And then again, you'll start on quick quiz, and then your test preps will start. Okay. And then go to the next question. To see what, I'm going to stop it now to get back to the dashboard here. Here's the dashboard. As I mentioned before, all of your test scores will be here. And if you don't want us to see a test score, or you don't want to send us a screenshot of every test you took, all you got to do is go over to the options column here, click on the drop down, click delete, and then this particular exam will go away. See that? All right, so that's that. Let me go back to the journey here. All right. In the most recent past, we haven't had the 7th edition PMBOK, but here it is right here. So it's available to you, so you can, take a look at this, read, review it, what have you. And as Brian mentioned, you can't print this off, and you're only able to access this on the platform. You're not going to be able to, download it or things like that. Just want to cover this tile also. This is a self-paced coursework for the PMP. Just please pay attention to this. This self-paced coursework is not a requirement. I highly recommend you do it, but it's not a requirement for exam payment. All right. So the way I would go about it is I would go through the boot camp, and then the following week I would request my boot camp course completion certificate, and then I would do the self-paced coursework for the PMP. And just like I showed you earlier, all you got to do here is, here's a list of all the different modules, about 20 modules here. And I'll just click on one just so you can see it. Again, it looks a lot like LinkedIn Learning, but the same thing, has the notes section that I showed you. has the notes section like I showed you, has the resource section with the transcript and the terms and glossaries. And then over here, it has the volume where you can make it a full screen and use the captions if you like. All right. Let me go back. Again, this section here has resources. In addition to the PMBOK, it has other resources. I just pick one or two, whatever works best for you to utilize to review your test preps and to, and help you with your certification exam. Again, this is the Employment Services tab that I went over before. And then down here on the bottom is for Alumni Services. Okay, same thing as I mentioned already. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the presentation. Michaela, if you would, go ahead and share that screen, the slides again. Just go over, just going to review a couple more things and then we'll be done. A couple of reminders here. I think I went over a bunch of these things, but you should have gotten a registration email for the boot camp, and you got to register for the boot camp to attend the boot camp. I recommend that you register for the boot camp by the end of the day tomorrow, because we don't work on the weekends. And if you have a problem with something, then we might be able to help you. All right. So please, again, you have until Sunday to register, but I highly recommend that you register for the boot camp by the end of the day tomorrow. Down below here, you'll see the dates and the times for the boot camp. All right. So we already talked about this, but it's right here for you. It starts on Monday, goes through Friday, September 18th through September 22nd. And it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. All right, I already went over these expectations that you're going to have learners from around the country. Please leave the chat open. And again, I would recommend that you not engage in the chat. It's kind of distracting. So, don't do that to yourself. Take note of the things that the instructor is putting out. And if you do that, I think you'll be good to go. All right, talked about the learner kit, talked about attendance. Again, with technical support, Michaela covered this, but if you have any technical support or if you have any technical issues with Skillsoft, here's the email that we want you to take a look at. Bootcamp certificate process. So we will, as advisors, we will provide you with some follow-on information when it comes to obtaining your bootcamp course completion certificate. It's really not that hard, but here's the bottom line. We have two ways of getting it, on demand and through email. On the on-demand process, you can be able to access your bootcamp course completion certificate right away if you register for the bootcamp ahead of time and if you attended every session using the bootcamp registration link. If for some reason you access the bootcamp through some other means that we may give you if you had some technical issue, then you won't be able to get your bootcamp course completion certificate on demand. So it'll take a little longer. You'll have to email them. There's a process, like I said, that we will explain to you, and it will take up to 21 business days for you to get your bootcamp course completion certificate if you can't get it on demand. I don't want anybody to freak out about that. It's not a problem. You got 6 months to get all of this stuff into us. So if you don't get your bootcamp course completion certificate right away, it's okay. Sometimes it takes a little time. It's okay. We've seen it many times before. As long as you get it to us, that's going to be your credit for the attending the boot camp anywhere in that 6 months time period. Okay, so don't sweat it. If it takes a little longer than 21 days, we have a way for you to kind of nudge them to help you get that boot camp course completion certificate a little faster. So it's all good, no worries. All right, that's the end of our presentation here. So I want to go ahead and Michaela, if you stop sharing, I want to go ahead and take a look at the chat so I can see if there's any questions that we have to answer here. We're getting close on time, but I want to just go ahead and see if there's anything in the chat that I didn't cover that people have a question about. Let's see. How long do we have to access it? Great question, Jeremy. Jeremy, I think how long do we have to access all the support materials? So you will, you have access to it now, I believe, because you have access to Precipio, and you'll have access through the cohort end date, and then you'll have access to the material until September 2024. All right. Bootcamp, okay. Go ahead and answer that. You can log into the bootcamp over your phone. Yep, okay. I think that's all. I think Brian answered all the questions. Okay. All right. I saw a couple of questions about the app, and yes, you can access the boot camp from your phone on your app. I just wouldn't do it that way. That's my recommendation. If it works better for you to do it that way, go for it. But I wouldn't do it that way. How many more additional hours of studying outside of the coursework PMP boot camp are required or average to successfully pass the PMP exam? Again, I would dedicate 6 to 10 hours a week. And then, it's all really dependent upon your learning style. If you feel like you're getting the material faster or with less time spent on studying, then, go with your best method. So that's what I would recommend to you. Post boot camp, should we still study the optional study material or help with our where did it go? I'm sorry, I meant that the question disappeared from my screen. I'm sorry. If you have any questions that we haven't covered already, guys, we're at time. So just reach out to the IVMF advising at syr.edu if you have any additional questions that we didn't cover. I want to thank you all for the time today. I hope this has been beneficial. And as Brian mentioned, a recording of this webinar will go out tomorrow with the advisor assignment email. So if you missed something, you'll be able to play it back again and again, and you'll be able to get that information. All right. And as I mentioned before, we'll be sending you some additional information. So just be on the lookout for some correspondence from Brian and myself. All right. You all have a great day. Good luck to you in your pursuits, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.